Hi, this is Andrew from the Big Idea podcast Food, and I'm here today to speak with Gary Huerta, who is the co-founder and CEO of Plant Ranch. We're going to learn the story of how they got started. They never set out to become an amazing plant-based food company, but that's exactly what they've become through some twists and turns in their origin story. So I hope you enjoyed today's conversation, and by all means engage with us via bigideaventures.com or via LinkedIn or via this podcast. Thanks very much, and let's get into it. All right, Gary Huerta from Plant Ranch, as I live and breathe. How are you today, sir?
Doing great, thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Of course. So this is, as you know, the Big Idea podcast focused on food. We spend each week, we talk to new founding teams. We talk to thought leaders in the food space. You happen to be both of those things. So great to have you on board. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Plant Ranch?
I will. Thanks. I don't know that I've ever been called a thought leader, but I'll take that as a compliment.
Well, when I'm in a meeting with Susie Welch and she says, whenever anyone considers a vegan lifestyle, she basically points them towards Plant Ranch.
Yeah, I know.
Because she knows that will get them over the hump and into the plant-based category. You guys have got to be the thought leaders in great food.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope we'll touch on that later. I think the first question you asked is how we came into being, and it was actually I'll try to make this a short story because it actually is a little lengthy. My partner Mike is a real lover of the forests up above Los Angeles, the Angeles National Forest. He had managed to get a group of Seventh-day Adventists, who really lovely people, about 200 of them, to go up one day and clean up the forest. The trails specifically, these trails that go up that are very used, they get very abused. Anyways. So he had agreed to make them lunch, and knowing that they were vegetarians, not full vegans, but they are vegetarians, needed to provide them with something that would be suitable for them, and likewise be a very nice way to say thank you to these people for helping him with his cause. He thought that he was going to be able to go to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's and other places and just have them hand him food to serve lunch. And well, it's not that easy because you need to be a 501c3 and you need to actually prove that you're not taking this and having a pool party with these donations. So, anyways, he didn't get anything. He was actually in between jobs, so he's kind of financially struggling a little bit. Had to feed these people and set about trying to figure out what and how, and did research and discovered that seitan is this plant-based protein that has been around for actually thousands of years, and it originated in China with the monks. I won't deviate off of that onto that story, but so he set about to making these seitans and hated every one of them. Followed all the recipes. He said he tried dozens and dozens of them. Was at an absolute point of frustration, and one night, very late at night, he had an idea for how to maybe shift the making of seitan, and applied what he thought. He's an engineer. Applied his idea, and he said he felt he had something that really worked. That was very meaty, and very. It just felt a lot more like meat than any of the seitans he was making off of the internet. He then asked his wife, who's our other partner, Carmen, to help him do the flavorings, and she used her family recipes that she grew up with, making when they were marinating, flavoring, and cooking meats. So the first one he did was the carne asada, which is actually now our most popular flavor. They did that. They got it. It was an amazing product. They ended up serving the 200 people up in the hills in Angeles National Forest. And then a couple weeks later, he had me and my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time, come over to the house, sat in the backyard. They had it. I was not a vegan at the time, and he said, by the way, I made all that. That was plant-based. That's vegan meat. And I just freaked out. I couldn't believe it. I actually kind of didn't believe. I thought it was, he was kidding me. I would have used a different word. Yeah, fucking around. Let's use that. So I thought, no way. And then he said, yeah, for sure. And for me, that was my light bulb moment. I've been in marketing and advertising all of my career. I went and got a degree in college for that. So for nearly about 30 years now, I've been doing that. And to me, it was the ultimate, like, wow, if I'm not blown away and I feel this way, there's got to be a lot of other people who would feel that way. And I really very quickly put it to them. I think it was that night. I said, we maybe should do this. We can think about making this a company and taking this on. Mike was kind of into it. Like I said, he was between jobs. He thought this could be fun. Carmen was not interested at all. She really was very resistant to it. Sure. But it took a couple more months of we ate the food. I tried it and just kept on saying, look, this is a really good thing here. This is something that I think is just amazing. And they finally, at the beginning of 2016, Carmen agreed. We started working. I started working on a brand plan for the business, and then we tried to figure out. Well, so we only have $7,500. What are we going to do with $7,500 to put this these products into people's mouths? And so it was actually Mike came up with the idea of doing a taco cart, because in LA, taco carts they're kind of the big deal. Tacos are the LA food, really, street tacos especially.
So taco cart, let's just unpack that for a second. Is this a big ass truck that is like $20,000, $30,000?
No, this is like the cart you see outside of like sporting events that have the hot dogs on them, the bacon hot dogs and whatnot.
So like an aluminum little rolly thing.
Yeah. It was food grade. It was stainless steel, and we got it from a guy that makes taco carts out about 15 miles away from us. Okay. We had a couple specific things that we wanted done to it. No, nothing big, but let's just say it was the taco cart. It had a couple of steam tables for the proteins. We made tortillas and went out onto the streets in Highland Park, which is a kind of a hip area in Los Angeles. Good street to be on. Struggled for a few weeks, and then we caught the attention of a few vegan, plant-based influencers, social media influencers who came by. And we had been, pinging them and trying to get them to come by, but they came by, they showed up with a couple friends, and once they got a taste of it and they saw, this is really great stuff, we started to get some lines, and lines grew into bigger lines, which grew into a more complicated setup. Mike and Carmen are students of the Toyota lean manufacturing process. So we actually we would rent out an auto repair corner. They would be closed down. They'd move the cars for us. So we'd have this big area. And within about, I don't know, I would say it was less than 6 months. It was quick. Mike had figured out, we could use Square, we could integrate it with other things. I mean, we were setting up on the street like a taco cart, but we had point of sale people at the front doing the orders. The orders were going back to tablets and TV screens in an outdoor setting where we've got people making things. We were pushing orders through, custom orders at about, they were taking about a minute and a half, a minute and 45 for somebody to order a burrito any way they wanted, tacos any way they wanted, nachos. We'd crank it through, come on through. That did really well for a couple of years. We ended up doing Coachella. God, this is a long story.
So before we finish the story, because it's actually really quite interesting. Let's say an average day, Saturday on the weekend, Highland Park. What kind of number of dishes or number of meals or number of couples or however you think about it, what's a normal day? What is a normal day?
That's a good question, and it's actually kind of staggering. We sold our food products, and you can still see them if you go to social media and look at Senna Vegan. You'll see what the tacos and burritos and nachos look like. They're massive. I mean, I think I've always argued that it's way too big. But, that's social media. Social media, Instagram loves those things. Let me get right to your answer, though. So all of our products sold for between $8 and $10. Right. And on a Friday night, we would do about $3,500, $4,000 from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., 5 hours.
Wow. Okay, so 300 to 400 meals.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And it was and generally by, pre-pandemic, when we would set up there on a Friday, we would be setting up and there would already be a line of 10, 15 people waiting for us just to open. And then sometimes it just wouldn't subside and then the lines would go around the corner a little bit. But again, I think people who knew us and understood what we were doing saw that, wow, man, there's 25 people. I'm going to be through this line in about 5 minutes because these guys turn things so quickly. And that was, I think, part of the allure is that people realized they weren't waiting they were waiting in a long line, but the line was moving. And so, anyways, so to pick back up, right? So we're kind of this local Southern Cal phenomenon / kind of hit of the vegan festivals and that, the lines are super long there because people are traveling and they want to see it. We end up doing Coachella, and sometime around the beginning of 2019, it was right at the end of 2018. I had thought, wow, we're doing really well as Cena Vegan, but we've gotten really sidetracked. We've now become this kind of very profitable food service, and we started to have some really good success with stores and other food service companies coming to us. We had no sales, no marketing, no nothing. It was just this cart and Instagram. And suddenly Lassen's has come to us and Follow Your Heart Cafe in the Valley and a couple other stores. And then there's Veggie Grill actually came to us, all unsolicited because they had either seen or tried our food. And it was at that point, it was kind of like, look, we gotta figure out what we want to do and how we want to go. We're either gonna be a good food service company, or we're gonna be a pretty mediocre plant-based protein company that doesn't do very well in distribution and sales. And so we started to reshift and refocus.
Why do you think that? Why do you think those were the two scenarios?
Well, I can tell you from my experience in BIV, Big Idea Ventures, for those who don't know the acronym. It's impossible for me as the CEO to do both. I resigned from Cena Vegan during the course of the accelerator program because I have a duty to make Plant Ranch as successful as it can possibly be. I have an obligation to the investors to dedicate 100% of my time to this business. And I think that it's not possible to do, even as somebody who doesn't have full on day-to-day hands-on with a restaurant. A restaurant is time consuming for its owners. I don't care who you are, it just is. And I think you and I discussed this at the beginning of the program. You said, how are you going to manage that? And I said, I think I'll manage it. My team said the same thing. How are you going to manage it? He said, you realize that this accelerator program, you're all in, buddy. You put all your chips on the table. And I was like, I got this. And I realized around March, no, I don't. And what I have to do is just get rid of it. So I did. That said, so I sort of knew, I guess, back then that we needed to separate the two out and we needed to have focus on this other thing, and did that. And then the pandemic hit, and we were just about to get into Whole Foods into their prepared food section, and that went away. And it was feeling a little like we were taking very slow steps backwards. Even though the business was actually growing, we were still doing well. Our year-over-year growth between 2019 and pandemic year is really good. We did very well. But the glaring problems of having a small company, and I think you said, and other people I know said, there's a reason why a lot of small companies can't scale up, because I will use the word fucking. It's fucking hard. It's really hard. And I've never done anything in business that's been harder than trying to get this thing scaled up for real. And that really started with the painfully long 17-minute video I sent you guys as our intro. I went back and looked at it. I can't believe it was 17 minutes long. Well, anyways, that'll be another question, I'm sure. Like, what was I thinking? So we got there, and you and I talked, and we talked as we were being interviewed with the rest of the BIV team. That for me, I felt scale up sales and distribution were our biggest challenges. we needed to do something about that, and you know, so here we kind of are out of being this. Boy, that's the long story, right? Out of being this lunch that was served for a really good cause, for a good reason, to getting onto the streets, to becoming sort of a food service phenom, to shifting back to being the plant-based protein manufacturer that we wanted to be when we started in 2016, to being on the verge of scaling up to have some serious national distribution. It's mind-blowing. When you start these things, I'm sure there are a ton of entrepreneurs who do it the same way. You have no idea what you're getting into. And with food service and with food manufacturing, boy, it's good that you don't know what you're getting into, because you'd never do it. I mean, if I had known all of the challenges and things that would exist in food manufacturing back when we were in that backyard and I was telling them, oh, let's be a plant-based meat company, I don't think we would have ever done it. But you know, you don't. It's good that you don't know what you don't know sometimes, because you just have to learn it along the way.
I was going to say, I hope whoever's listening to this who has the potential to be another Plant Ranch one day doesn't listen to this and get turned off, because
No, that's not what I want at all. In fact, I say you have to follow what your dream and your vision is. And I think that if you have a product that you really do believe is better than what's out there currently, then you have to go for it just full tilt. I mean, you have to go all in on it and be prepared to just really work hard. But no matter what category, no matter what portion of our planet we live on, there is always room for better. Always. Because that's just the way better works. Better is always available. So you got to make it happen.
I wish there could be a headline. There should be a headline for this conversation. Better is always available. I love that. So let's talk about the team now. The three of you set out together.
Yep.
I'm guessing you were the marketing person. Take us through what the other team members did, and also actually let's go through that first. How do you guys divide up the company, and who does what, and how did you decide in the beginning how you were going to divide up the responsibilities and the functions?
Well, we had to do it very much in the how many hats can each person wear, because like I said, we started with $7,500, and for almost 5 years took no investment until you guys came along and were the first people to have some monetary faith in us.
I think it must be you didn't ask anybody.
No, we kind of didn't. It was just, you know, I mean, I've been very fortunate in that my time at DirecTV and AT&T exposed me to a really wide swath of how the business was run. Now, I was in marketing and sales most of the time, but I was always part of our big company meetings. I helped put the decks together for the executive vice presidents, contributed to the CEO's deck, and got a really great education in a lot of parts of business. Not that I'm want to do all of that, but so that's been kind of my side of it, is that not just marketing, but I have been doing the finances and just trying to overall now see what the vision of organizing a real company is going to be all about. Mike and Carmen are the product people. I mean, you know, they're the secret sauce. I mean, they're unbelievable palates. Mike's ability to I don't say he's a savant in a good or bad. He's just this incredibly focused person on wanting things to be better and wanting to find efficiencies, and that's how the seitan came about. And Carmen's recipes are amazing. They both have a lot of manufacturing experience, and it has been key to our ability to actually produce a lot of pounds of product in what is a very, very, very small shared kitchen. And so
So he's the product development guy
Yep.
from an engineering perspective.
Yep.
She's the product development person from a taste, spices, flavoring, from the flavoring side.
Yeah.
And I kind of see you as the sort of a bit of the lead singer, because you're the marketing guy out in front, sort of, the person that people see while Mike and Carmen are doing the magic in the background, right?
Yeah, that's why I grew my hair long, to be the lead singer. So yeah, that's very true. And I what I am very much looking forward to in this next step, right, as we get close to hopefully closing the funding for a seed round. I fingers crossed, toes, everything. Yeah, I am really excited by the idea of now having real divisions of the company that aren't all having hats worn. Like I'm excited that we have a great sales team that understands distribution, starting to work on it. I think we found a marketing person who's going to be good. We've got finance guy in place. And I'm eager to have all of these things build and work cohesively. Whereas before it was always kind of me, okay, I got to do the payroll, I got to do the finances, I got to do this, I got to see over the taxes, I got to get the, having someone to administer HR would be fantastic. I mean, I've had to do that stuff as well. And yeah, it's time to let really good people start to do that and integrate these things as a true functioning business. It's so exciting. Again, I go back to, what it was like to have all those people just up in the hills eating a bunch of tacos on a path to having an organization and an infrastructure and making the R&D schedule and timeline and budget work together with the marketing timeline and schedule and budget. This is really cool stuff. So big challenge.
I was going to say, one of the toughest things you guys had to do, and I know you had to do, was make that decision. Okay, we've got a number of places we can take this business. We've got a number of directions we can travel. And even though we might want to, we can't travel them all at the same time. We want to be, so, what do we want to be when we grow up? And you guys went through that thought process. It sounds like you came to the decision, at least you did, in terms of what you want to focus on day to day, that you want to be a world-class, world positioned plant-based food company. Does that mean that the restaurant and that side of the business, which is obviously the heritage and where you came from and something you guys got really very, very good at, is that something you needed to pass over to a different group of people? Did you sell it? What did you decide to do with that part of the business?
Well, I resigned. So we're currently working on what my buyout is according to the operating agreement. Mike and Carmen are continuing it right now while a decision is being made to what they want to do with it. Actually, I told when I resigned rather abruptly. We were actually looking for a brick and mortar, and after that, I'd gone with them, looked at the place, saw it needed a bunch of work, and immediately in my mind I thought, am I going back to the same chaos that I was trying to solve before? I mean, now suddenly I'm going to be moving over and having to work on this, and what happens with Plant Ranch? Plant Ranch cannot be a diversion. Plant Ranch cannot be a secondary thought. Plant Ranch has to be the primary thought. There's too many great companies out there already. There's too many great companies coming up right now. The competition is growing, and it needs full attention. So from my perspective, there was no doubt in my mind. And boy, my wife had said, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" I said, "Look, there's no doubt in my mind that Plant Ranch is what I want to do. I mean, first of all, I'm I don't know the best way to say this. I'm a product guy, and so in marketing, I was always used to selling products, whether it was a service, product, goods and services, right? I never got that gigantic thrill out of standing at a register, taking orders and serving people and whatnot. It was great, it's fantastic, nice, sure, but that's not what that's not what drives me inside. People who are driven that way, God bless anybody who's driven any certain way, right? It's a good thing. But I knew that this is where it was always supposed to be. And, in fact, like you said about wanting it to be a world-class company, when I mentioned I wrote a brand plan for us because business plan was going to be a little more tricky. As a marketing guy, I could start with a brand plan because that was like my sweet spot, right? So we wrote the brand plan and identified a couple of things that I had envisioned for the business, and I had always said that we would be on the cover of Fast Company as one of the 20 best places to work. That's something that I really need to get after. It's something that when you're a small company, you ask your employees, good times are coming, hang on, please hang on with us. It's coming. And now that it's going to be here, I want to make sure that I live up to what I wrote down 5 years ago. I want our company to be a great place to work. I believe that everybody who has been with us and people who are working with us, I never like to say working for us, people who work with us should be paid well. They should have insurance available. They should have opportunities to get into 401ks. This is just as important as anything else we do, is taking care of our own and making sure that we're growing a company responsibly and ethically. This is like, I tell you, it's funny when we had to do the Delaware C Corp, you have to name a CEO, and we kind of muddled back and forth and who's going to do it. And because, we thought, well, it is true. I do have more of a gift of gab, I think, than Mike and Carmen. And so I get out there and I can pitch it and I can do that and say what I got to say and believe it. But I never realized how. I mean, really, at the beginning, I didn't think about how very important and how much responsibility the three letters CEO has, and it really does. I mean, this is a really important thing that I need to do, and I need to do it the right way. I think I'd mentioned before we started recording that I had been influenced by a former CEO at DirecTV. His name was Mike White. I met him one or two times working on a deck for him, and we chatted. But he always had this philosophy and belief and instilled in the company when he got there of doing things the right way. And I kind of thought when he came in, it was like, okay, there's a CEO he's going to do his flyover thing, and he's just making that up. But he really did, and he instilled that in everything that I saw that he did, and everything he did for the company. It was always about doing it the right way. And I really, I have always been say a freewheeling dude. I mean, I'm the rebel in the marketing group, or was at DirecTV and AT&T. I was hired out of an ad agency. So I always had a little more rebel mentality. Let's just leave it at that. But I really believed in what he said, that doing it the right way is just so important. I'm harping on with this, but boy, if there's anybody out there listening who is getting to start up a business, do it the right way. This is something that you'll never ever regret.
Fantastic. So right now, you guys it sounds like there's a little bit of a transition going on as you divest yourself of some of the business, which is certainly part of the heritage in terms of amazing, great tasting, vegan-based foods. Yeah. From a heritage perspective, Carmen has brought the tastes and flavors of the sort of Mexican side of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you see the company going? I mean, we've sort of got to where you are today, and the fact that you're going through this transition. Obviously, there's the piece about making sure that the culture you create is the kind of company people want to come to work at every day. That it's not just a job; it's actually something they're all very passionate about being a part of. So, if you can make everything work the way the brand plan dictates and you, Mike and Carmen, can create. Where do you guys see yourselves in, let's say, 5 years' time?
Well, I mean, I don't know if people who have the ability to see video can see that I have a significant amount of gray hair. I'm not a young guy.
You have more hair. I'd swap you your hair for my hair.
Okay. So 5 years. In between the 5 years, I do see us expanding into flavors that are non-Mexican. Mexican has always been, like you said, the heritage. It's the sweet spot. It's what we're really known for. And you should always, I think, start, especially when you're tackling scale up, start with a bit of a narrow focus, and as things get better, you can expand out as you learn more. Anyway, so sometime within the next 24 months, I would love to see us be able to expand into a couple of products that we've already developed and sold at the Senna Vegan business, which is American flavors: roast beef, barbecue beef, pulled pork. And we've worked on some Italian sausage and meatballs that are really pretty phenomenal. I think that from my perspective, there's no shortage of opportunity in terms of the way we do it, what I consider to be our right way, which is making things that allow people to say, I get that back in my life, like really authentic flavors. That's really the core, one of the core principles of our business is that it has to taste amazing. It has to. I like to think that we make great food that happens to be plant-based. We have to be taste forward. I think that one of the things that encourages me as our business is that there's so many alternatives out there that just don't taste that great. And that's what I mean by the big playground, is that there's a lot of things that we can produce that I know we've already done and we can come up with, especially with Mike and Carmen's ability to understand, what the real flavors are. Well, there's a lot of products and a lot of ways we can go. Now, where are we in 5 years? I certainly would like to hope and believe that our real job here is to really prove out through a couple of rounds of fundraising that our product, our vision, our ability to create products is superior enough that somebody with gigantic national and international marketing and distribution would then want to acquire, and that's sort of what I am hoping will happen. Is what we've really sort of hoped for the whole way, which is, look, we'll get it to a great size. Somebody else with larger infrastructure can go and take it, to the rest of the world, and doing that, I think we serve the greatest purpose that Plant Ranch can serve, which is to get in front of the most people that it can get in front of. That's what I always had believed, that let's have somebody else with gigantic capabilities take us global and let people see how good plant-based food can be.
So I've got so many questions based on that. You guys started with Mexican. It's been very good versus, so the Mexican food I've seen out there, especially plant-based Mexican, is poor. It's so far everything I've tried, and I obviously haven't tried everything, but so far everything I've tried in the plant-based category and the Mexican side of things isn't so great. In fact, it's not always great in in all of the different areas.
Oh.
That's been your binding element, the tastes and the flavors. What makes you want to go into areas outside? So, for example, meatballs and beef and all sorts of other areas. Why do you feel either the need or the, why anything and everything? Why not be really good at one particular thing?
Great question. Yeah, that's just, I suppose those are sort of two forks in the road. You could go, yeah, we're just going to focus all Mexican. We've already got, in addition to the 3 SKUs that are already in stores and available for food service, another another 5 that we've either already served at Senna Vegan. Actually, we've served all of them at Senna Vegan to really good success. But like I said, we've also served these other products pretty successfully as well. Again, it comes down to that. To me, I think that's what makes the company exciting for us as founders. Okay, I think that I know Mike just he's like a kid when he creates a flavor that replicates something that he had in his life that he didn't have before. And the roast beef that he has made, he did it to. Sorry, turn that off. He did it to match a sandwich in Los Angeles. It's very well known. French dip sandwich. Philippe's is a restaurant that's been in Los Angeles since I think around 1919. In the same spot just north of downtown LA, and they make this French dip sandwich and lamb dip. And if you were a meat eater, you probably had it, probably loved it. You gave it up and you thought, I'm never having it again. Well, he just decided, I want that sandwich again. And he went and created the roast beef exactly the same, put it on the exact same bun. We used the exact same Coleman's mustard. And goddamn, if I took a bite into that and I said, that's the Philippe's sandwich. You nailed it. You absolutely mastered that sandwich. And I think when you do that and you give people these opportunities to either get it back or try it for the first time, it's super powerful. And it's really, that part of it is really fun. When I realized that we're eating the prototypes of these things and it's better than anything out there in the market, and I'm just having it in my own kitchen, it's like, I can't wait to unleash this on the world. People are going to flip out. They're going to absolutely lose their shit when they try this stuff. So that's I think the reason is to keep innovating. Innovation is fabulous.
So the binding element, by the sounds of it, isn't Mexican versus American versus Italian or whatever. It sounds like the binding element is being able to give people the amazing food that they find in kind of traditional meat categories and give it to them in a plant-based way.
Yeah.
Whether that's replicating, a world famous meatball dish that's in Little Italy in New York or wherever, taking that world-class dish that's meat-based and being able to replicate it in the plant-based category.
It's exactly right. That's exactly right. And we're very fortunate, right? I mean, when you live in a metropolitan area, Los Angeles, New York, London, whatever, you're surrounded by international cuisines that are truly authentic. They're people who have come from their countries. They're not bastardizing menus. These are their family menus. And we've tried making shawarma, and I've done a really good job at it. I think that it needs still a little bit more, but there's no shortage of being able to give people back these flavors that they grew up with, either gave up or are considering giving up or wanting a healthier alternative that has zero trans fats and no cholesterol and whatnot. That's the driver. And I think what we want to be known as is we want to be the plant-based protein company that delivers the real deal. I mean, it's just so important that the flavors be as authentic as they can possibly be. And maybe, you know what? Maybe for some of the population, they're a little spicy. Maybe they're a little this, they're a little that. But we want them to be authentic to whatever it is. And that's fine. I think it's not going to be our job to run around and try to make a flavor that's going to appeal to as many people as possible. We just want the flavor to be real. We want the people who are after the real flavor to know that they can always look for the Plant Ranch name and the package and go, whatever's inside that thing, if they say it's roast beef, if they say it's an Italian sausage or a meatball, if they say it's shawarma, if they say it's carne asada, it's carne asada. And I can actually take that, I can heat it up, it's cooked, it's flavored, it's ready to go, and I can have an amazing meal without any hesitation or question.
There's that gift of the gab you mentioned, right?
What do you mean?
You have a really good way of explaining yourself. You're very, very competent at, really nailing it. the idea. So we've got.
Oh, gift of gab. Yeah, I heard you. There's that. I thought you said there's. This is why I said what? Yeah, I heard you say if to the gap. I was like, is that some fucking? What is if to the gap? Gift of gab. Okay, cool. Let's go.
So we've got 5 minutes left. So two really quick questions. One is, you mentioned that 5 years from your point of view is potentially partnering with someone, some company, some entity that has the capability of taking Plant Ranch global, getting your food in front of, authentically in front of as many people as possible, and sort of showing people that a plant-based lifestyle is absolutely possible without giving up anything in terms of taste and experience.
Yeah.
Explain why you think that requires an acquisition or a company to be part of that story, rather than Gary, Mike, and Carmen taking this company global.
I don't know that it does. I mean, again, I think it's. I think you reach every plateau with that. You don't know what you don't know, and I think maybe for me at this moment, that's part of the I don't know what I don't know. It certainly sounds like an appealing plan. The idea of being able to be acquired for what would hopefully be a profit, and settle into a table in Tuscany with an espresso, watch life go by for a couple of weeks. That sounds great to me. Sure. But that's not to say that I couldn't do that while we're doing this. I just, whatever. I guess they would say, what's your exit strategy? I guess that's my exit strategy. It may not necessarily be my full-on business strategy once we see what happens. It could be that we manage to grow it. We build the sales. We build the infrastructure and the business the right way, like I said earlier, and we have the ability to take it global. That's fine. If I can see my Plant Ranch logo on an F1 car in Monaco, that's fine too.
Okay, last question. If someone is either an investor, a consumer, someone who's considering a plant-based lifestyle, if somebody for whatever reason wants to find Gary Huerta, Mike, Carmen, and Plant Ranch, what are the best ways of getting hold of you guys and offering their help, support, and love?
Well, LinkedIn is a good way to find both Plant Ranch and me. Twitter, we're just getting onto the Twitter thing, so we're getting there with that. We can share my email if people really have questions and they want to reach out. I'm fairly good at email. I get back. Gary.h@plantranchfoods.com.
And it's plantranchfoods.com is the.
Yeah, but the company isn't named Plant Ranch Foods. This has been happening a lot lately, where people have been saying, "Oh, I can't wait to try Plant Ranch Foods." It's like, no, it's Plant Ranch. Unfortunately, Plant Ranch, that handle in social media was taken. Plant Ranch Foods seemed to be a natural. So for now, our social media stuff says Plant Ranch Foods, but the company is Plant Ranch. We'll get that changed back someday when we have money to buy that organic nursery in Colorado out. That's fine.
The website's available. I looked today.
Is it?
$25,000 if you.
See, well, there we go. Okay.
You want to sell one of those collectibles in the glass cabinet behind you.
Maybe the pre-Columbian piece, but I'm not parting with that. I like that thing. Yeah, so that's probably the easiest way to get a hold. Hopefully in stores, lots of stores and food service places soon. That would be great. That's our goal and intention. Yeah.
So LinkedIn, Gary Huerta, Huerta, founder, CEO of Plant Ranch Foods or Plant Ranch. Plant Ranch. That's what's on LinkedIn. And then plantranchfoods.com online. And you're starting the Twitter thing, unlike Mr. Trump. I think he's still off of it. Instagram.
That's why we're starting.
Instagram.
I just figured Twitter needed another loudmouth. So, it's like they got rid of Trump. Oh, here comes Gary.
There you go. All right, Gary.
My hands are bigger, though.
Yeah, everyone's hands are bigger, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You're a Tyrannosaurus.
Sorry.
We're not editing this. I don't have the time.
I don't care. I'm good. You know what? If you're gonna reach out, you're gonna get the Gary Huerta experience. That's all there is to it.
It's like the Grateful Dead experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. A little less acid, but
Always a pleasure. Love to Mike and Carmen, and obviously to you too. Thank you for your time and for talking to us today. I'm going to pause and then we're going to be done. Thank you, sir.
Before you do, let me just take a minute and say thank you to you and to Big Idea Ventures and the entire Big Idea Ventures team of mentors, advisors, and of course the staff. I can't tell you how grateful I am I can't tell you how grateful I am that you talked me into doing it, because I can't believe I originally was like, thanks for the invite. I think we're going to do something else. And you said, Gary, you're going to make a gigantic mistake here. You were right. It would have been a mistake of epic proportions. I just can't tell you, man, Andrew, how grateful I am for everything that you guys have done for our business over the last 5 months of being in this cohort. It's literally changed our business. It has changed my life quite literally, because I have taken this role of CEO and I love it and I'm embracing it. But I also just can't tell you, man, how grateful I am to you guys. You just really have taken our business and done exactly what you were supposed to do, which was accelerated it. We are now running 10 times faster than we ever have been. So thank you so much. I'm really grateful.
You guys have been amazing. You are amazing. And by the way, we're going to be stuck together for the next 5 to 10 years. So I'm glad it's a good relationship.
Well, gee, I'm glad I was so nice to them.
I thought you were going to be a far tougher crowd than you were. I thought you were going to be. I'm like, I said to my team, we've really got to work hard with Gary and team, because these guys are not going to allow you to slack off. You guys have to absolutely over deliver. So I'm glad you feel they have. Thank you.
Yeah, they've been great. I express my gratitude to them every time they help us with something. They're really terrific people. Really terrific. You have a terrific group of people working with you.
I do. I absolutely do. I'm not sure whether we're going to be on the Fast Company front page, but we can strive for it.
No, you'll be there. You'll be there with us. Let's put it that way, right? We wouldn't have been able to get there without you.
I meant for Big Idea Ventures. I want to be on the front page.
Yeah.
You can be inside the magazine. We'll be. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't see it that way, but okay. I'm not seeing your vision. I'm sorry. And now we clash. And now suddenly we don't get along. Wow.
Really a pleasure. Thank you, Gary. I'm going to press stop record.
Okay.
If anyone wants to reach out to Gary, please do. Amazing man with a great mission and a great team. Please do reach out to him and offer him all of your support. Thanks for listening to today's podcast with Gary Huerta from Plant Ranch. Great company, great person, great team. By all means, reach out to them or to us. And by all means, subscribe to the Big Idea podcast Food via either YouTube, iTunes, or one of the other platforms that we're available. Thanks for your time today. Do reach out if you have any thoughts or comments on it. Thanks very much, and look forward to next week's podcast. Thanks.